Hey, what is up guys? Massive here, back to do yet again another video, and today I've got an awesome GDI mirror on Tiberian Rift. So yeah, this is going to be on the recent R22F update. This is the one that includes the return of Visceroids. If you missed the news, if you didn't watch the last video, then yeah, spoiler alert, Visceroids are back, and they did feature for a brief while in that video. They do spawn via corruptors. But when it comes to GDI factions, not a whole lot has changed. I did bring back the ability to place sensor pods on enemy structures because, as someone rightfully pointed out a while ago on my YouTube, the sensor pod disappears when your opponent repairs that structure. So there is a means to counter it. I thought it was like the war factory. You had to get a structure near a war factory to remove the pod. No, it simply gets removed if your opponent repairs their building. And indeed it says in the code as well that it detaches when it is healed. So not a whole lot is happening in this game so far. One thing I like about Command and Conquer games though is it doesn't take too long for the game to pick up. Several minutes and you're going to start seeing strategies beginning to form, but this is the nature of all RTS games, aside from those real-time tactic games like Company of Heroes, where action happens a lot sooner. There's no base building. Real RTS games, you have to build a base, and that's why we love this genre. Steel Talons is going to be the faction for me, and my opponent will be GDI. Now, I do massively favor GDI. I made a video on this very matchup. I think Shatterers and Rockets completely own this faction, so you're going to have to play very unorthodox as Steel Talons to win. You have to use every advantage that you can get. I consider the MRTs inside of V35s to be an advantage for Steel Talons, as well as the adaptive armor Mammoth tanks. Very, very potent units. GDI can't really stop you in an armor v armor fight. They're going to have to go into infantry. The Marv's not too much of a threat, even though it gets the railgun turrets by putting zone troopers inside of it. You don't get that as Steel Talons, but who really builds a Marv nowadays for DPS? You build it for Marvesting the field, usually your opponent's third field. You grab that with the Marv and then secure your natural third with an MCV. Aside from that, Steel Talons have the same air capability. They've got Firehawks, Orcas, Hammerheads. All of that is the same. Hardpoint upgrade is available to them. They just lack the infantry. They get a combat engineer which has an ability to shoot enemy infantry. In vanilla this did not work well, but was buffed significantly in this patch. But really the advantages of playing Talons are just the huge superiority you have with Railgun Mammoth tanks. You can combo it with Railgun Accelerator, which is support power they get at tier 3, doubles the rate of fire of your Mammoths. Sure, the Mammoth tanks take a little bit of damage, but it's not significant. And there is a means to negate damage taken from RGA, and that is to have a unit such as an MRT next to the Mammoths. All the MRTs will do is they'll just touch the Mammoth tank and the damage will cease. It will no longer happen. So I'm going to do a little bit of a distraction tactic here. Unfortunately though, I will lose a Harvester, but I do have a MRT in the top of the map with an engineer inside. I'm going to distract my opponent with 4 MRTs in the air, focusing on the pitfalls, but his focus firing is very good, does manage to snare one of my V35s. Now this is not like bikes where the V35 Oxes can kite and indefinitely avoid taking damage. No, that is not the case. Versus pitfalls there is no max range, so these units will be taking damage, and now I'm down to just the 3 V35s. I should at this point evacuate them. They'd be better served on the land, especially versus 3 pitfalls. They'd easily be able to attack and kill 3 pitfalls if I land them. So that's what I'm going to do here. I've got the MRT in the top of the map. I'm going to try and take this over. Looking at the watchtower there, it could be in range. but I was fortunate enough to get into that refinery. And I'm not going to snare a harvester. Was not the best outcome for me. I would have liked to take that harvester, but I need to grab the refinery regardless. I can't wait until his harvester docks and then capture it, because me capturing nothing at all is worse than denying his expansion entirely, which is what I've done here. He doesn't have an expansion refinery. I'm getting down some harvesters on my expansion. He's going to try and take it back. I'm going to sell the refinery off before it dies, however, because if you don't do that, then you can potentially lose some resources. I mentioned this a number of times in my videos, but it is best to do that, and I do that just there. I think if you're floating less than 2 grand, there's no risk of losing money, but if you've got Tiberium in your silos, then there is a potential of that which will get deducted. Titans making use of their ability to shoot over buildings. That's one of the reasons why you'd pick Steel Talons. And meanwhile, my base, my base is completely engulfed by these pitbulls. So many pitbulls in my base. I don't have AP ammo either on those watchtowers. It's unupgraded watchtowers versus pitbulls. Harvester after harvester going down. These are heavy harvesters, mind you. So they're going to have a little bit more health. When I say more health, it's like literally 200 health over the enemy harvester. 5,000 versus 5,200. That is not even 10%. Is it even 5%? I'm terrible at math. Live on air. It's just under 5. It's just under 5%, man. That's nothing at all. Fun fact, they have the same health as the Black Hand Harvester does. 200 health is all they get. Black Hand 1 has more health because I presume it doesn't have stealth, so the developers thought, hey, let's just give it a bit of additional health instead. The main perk of the Heavy Harvester is you can garrison it up with an infantry unit, which no one really does, including myself. I have attempted it myself, did try it, but the only way it's good is if you manage to capture a mutant hovel on certain maps and put mutants inside. More harvesters going down though. These pitbulls completely caught me by surprise. I scoured everywhere but the location of where those pitbulls were hiding, and more of my harvesters are going to go down. That didn't leave me down to just the 3 harvesters now, a 4th one there. But he has me in a bad situation. He's also hurting. He's got 4 harvesters and 1 refinery. Both of us doing mutual amounts of damage to one another. Another swarm of pitbulls at the top of the map. I need to watch my orcas. No doubt he's looking to intercept my orcas. 3 is sufficient for me to go back on the attack. It's highly unlikely that I'm going to have enough time to kill 3 harvesters, which is what you'd require 4 orcas for. So I'm going to head out with just the 3 orchestrite coming in, not to really damage anything, but just to reveal the map so I can not fly into enemy aircraft, anti-aircraft. You want to see ahead of the orcas, just so you don't make wrong micro decisions. But yeah, in that case, it's actually going to damage the harvester. I'm going to efficiently target those harvesters down. I managed to get 3 of them. Strategically targeting those harvesters down one by one. I was able to get 3 harvesters there, and there are some rockets left in these orcas. I can turn and shoot one of the predator tanks. Might be worth it for me. I'm going to start digging some foxholes here. With the AP ammo upgrade, a bunch of foxholes is going to be very good against his infantry. As long as he doesn't have a grenade squad, I'm going to be able to deal massive damage to his infantry. Predator tanks closing in on this Titan missile force, and this just may be too much forces for me to handle. And these foxholes, even though they're getting a lot of damage dealt on this GDI army, it's not sufficient for me. A bunch of people heading towards me. I completely forgot about those, but I do have the AP ammo this time, and I'm going to be able to defend my base. Especially if I force these pitbulls through all of these structures, those watchtowers can shoot over buildings. They're going to take a lot of damage, those pitbulls, in the process of finding these orcas and destroying them on the deck. And replace a combat support airfield down. This is a little bit less expensive for me as a player to do this. I also place a regular airfield down just for good measure, because I may want to go into Firehawks or get the Hardpoint upgrade. It's the perfect opportunity here, I reckon, to get Hardpoints. It doubles the capacity of... No, it doesn't. It increases the ammo capacity by 50%. So in the case of the Firehawks, it goes from 2 bombs to 3 bombs. 4 missiles, it goes to 6 missiles. That sort of thing. Orc is heading back out again for another raid. Those pitfalls were cleaned up, so he's going to have to invest into more anti-air. I'm using this V35 Ox to scout ahead as well. And this game is just non-stop, guys. So much action. More harvests coming out for me. I'm trying to recover my economy. I see he's recovered his economy very well. And those forces of his are going to kill my Orcas. I don't want to be cost ineffective at this point in time. He's most likely got a refinery set up at his third field, so let's go up there and see if he does. No point going into the heavily defended base. Instead, look for areas that are less defended. Harvester is pulled back. I'm going to head over here and kill that harvester. One harvester goes down, not full of Tiberium, but I'll take it nonetheless. I myself am working on a refinery. You can see he's a little bit ahead of me, both in army count and in harvester count, so I need to make some damage happen, and I need to make it happen now. One saving grace for me is he does not have the APM upgrade, so these Orcas may avoid the hit scan damage from those APCs and not get taken out there. Harvester will be pulled towards those APCs, and just as I say that, the APM upgrade finishes. V35 Ox, once again, very good for scouting. Orca does fall, and I'm in trouble here. I'm bleeding a lot, so little income coming in for me. Predator tanks are spotted. I thought, okay, this is about the most I can possibly hope for. 2 Predator tank kills. Can't really complain about that. Titans don't perform that well against Predators, just because the Titans don't have the ability to reverse move. They can't really retreat. They're a bit more clumsy, plus they have a little bit of exposure to directional armor. Though I believe in this patch, it was changed a while ago. Titans don't actually take directional armor, or it could be a very minimum penalty, like 5% more damage. APCs getting targeted down, and they just aren't the counter to these AP ammo hammerheads. AP ammo hammerheads so effective against those light vehicles. You're going to be able to kill them very quickly, and this force of units is going to be stalled. And this will also open the opportunity for my Orcas to come back, now upgraded with the Hardpoints to kill those Predator tanks. It will spare my Titans lives in not engaging these, and the Hardpoint upgrade is going to come in immense use here, because once I've attacked those Predator tanks, I'm going to have enough ammunition to go out back on the attack. I see his harvesters once again. I need to go back in there and attempt to take him out. I'm not in tier 3 just yet. I've got Orcas, hammerheads above, looking for opportunities. Some upgraded infantry there, summoned in by the airborne support power. Golden infantry in 1.02 plus is the airborne infantry. They spawn with a different texture. I thought it would be a cool addition to this patch. I'm going to still use this combat support airfield. If I no longer require it, I can sell it off, get $250 plus a rifleman scout. They have as much health as a regular airfield in this patch now, so they are very used, and players use them a lot, especially in 2v2s where you need to relocate your air force to your allies' base, because you can build around your allies' MCV and also outposts nowadays. If your ally has an outpost, you can put buildings around it as well. Great for maneuvering your air and refilling their ammunition elsewhere. Wolverine's coming out for me, because I need to deal with that infantry, and Wolverines also act as a soft counter to enemy tanks too. They're not the best against tanks, but in a mixed army composition of tanks plus infantry, it's going to be a great answer to his army. With these Orcas flying above as well, looking for more potential harvester kills. It's forcing out these AA batteries, is keeping him on edge. It's maybe forcing him to build anti-air instead of what he really wants, which is most likely a Marv at this point, railguns and behemoths, or in the case of GDI, juggernauts. So I'm going for that railgun upgrade now. I might as well get it, even though railguns are not what I need at this moment. It's always going to be a good upgrade if the GDI player makes that transition to tanks. A couple of my forces are getting sniped there by his forces. I'm going to be going out on the attack with the Firehawks, upgraded with hardpoints. These are going to be devastating. Going to be able to one-shot kill the power plants, which you've seen in a number of my videos. I believe this upgrade is highly underrated, and it is particularly the case in the community patch, where the upgrade cost was reduced to $2,000. The Stratified upgrade, on the other hand, was increased to $1,500. So you're saving on the hardpoints and you're spending more on the Stratofighter, which is what balances it out, especially versus the Scrin, where they have more time to research the upgrades they need to defend against those Firehawks, as well as prepare a defense with a Storm Column. But that can be easily circumvented with attacks such as Orca Strikes and V-35s. Titans pushing into this base, gonna meet a lot of resistance, unfortunately for me, so many of those forces of his will be getting destroyed. Some infantry are there, but the Harvesters are getting crushed, and that is one other great positive thing about the Titan. They have the ability to crush Harvesters, though not the Scrin Harvester, all but the Scrin one, because I guess it levitates and it isn't crushable. I don't know, but I did not change that aspect. Orcas in my field now, gonna return the favor. I'm looking at these Orcas and thinking, uh-oh, those are destroy my Harvesters. He's gonna get back some damage that I've dealt on him. It's the second without hardpoints. I don't need a full deck of Hawks to kill a War Factory. Only 3 will suffice. And I see this airfield of his, and I've got 1 Firehawk here. And without offense, 1 Firehawk is all it takes to destroy an airfield. And he has no way to respond to that. That Firehawk came in and decimated that airfield. All the Orcas go down, and just like that, the hardpoint upgrade pays off. That one maneuver there was enough to justify hardpoints in this game. And the bomb damage from these 3 Firehawks is going to also splash the Harvester that's docked within. So I can target the Harvester, and the Refinery will go down as well. Harvester goes down, Refinery goes down. Very potent upgrade, and this is going to squeeze him further and further out of this game. But he's going to make one final gambit here with his attack force. He's got a mixture of APCs, infantry, Shatterers, and Predators. But I've got a lot of AP ammo here now. Some Hammerheads flying above, and he's hesitant to engage this. I'm going to make use of my Defender's Advantage. I've got the Railgun upgrade, so I can squeeze out a Mammoth tank if I choose. Adaptive armor would be great to absorb some of that rocket fire, so my Wolverines are not taking it. One thing he is doing here, though, is denying me from harvesting this tip field, so I'm going to take this engagement here, and behind it, try and gather some resources. His MCV has moved in to the fight. He's going to place down some watchtowers, or maybe a barracks, but this AP ammo damage from the Wolverines is insane. Shatterer tank there, doing a lot of damage, but with just the 1 Shatterer, it's not going to be enough, and the GG gets called. And I thought that was a pretty tense GDI versus Steel Talons game there. From start to finish, it was really a tense game. And you can see by the resource graph, it wasn't really clear until the very end who was coming out ahead. I think what did it for me was that hardpoint upgrade, delaying him significantly, and the Orcas as well with the hardpoints doing so much damage. So again, this is another video that demonstrates what hardpoints can do. And I think it was a comeback, all things considering, because my base was flooded with enemy pitbulls. He was killing Harvester after Harvester, but I was able to get that damage dealt to him in return and eventually come out with a winning solution. So yeah, guys, hope you all enjoyed that video. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. And before I go, as always, thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel and keeping this game alive. I really, really do appreciate the amazing support there. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.